I call meeting to order, and I would entertain approval of the consent agenda. Are we there?
We're gonna do roll call first.
Gotta do roll call. Approval of the agenda. Yeah,
All right, Supervisor.
Yep.
Supervisor Scott Belt, Mayor John Ewing, Commissioner Roger Garcia.
Here.
Mayor Rusty Hike.
Here.
Mayor Doug Kendig. Commissioner David Klug.
Here.
Councilmember Don Rowe.
Here.
Mayor Matt Walsh.
Here.
And Mayor Angie Winquist.
Here.
And now I'd entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
Second.
Is there a discussion? Roll call.
Garcia.
Yes.
Hike.
Yes.
Klug.
Yes.
Rowe.
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
Winquist.
Yes.
Approval of the board meeting from the July 24th meeting. Is there a motion? Of the board minutes?
Second.
Discussion?
Who did for Hike?
Okay.
Roll call.
Garcia.
Yes.
Hike.
Yes.
Klug.
Yes.
Rowe.
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
Winquist.
Yes.
Agency reports, executive director's report, Michael.
Sure. So we'll start this off. First, it's good to be back. I've actually missed the last two meetings, one with a family situation in June and then my planned vacation in July. So it's good to be back. And just a few updates here for all of you. Earlier this week on Tuesday, the MAPA leadership team, my direct reports and I did a leadership retreat just to kind of talk a little bit about kind of our strategic goals for MAPA. We've got the strategic plan approved by the board, but really kind of the direction we want to take things, those opportunities for collaboration, and just really kind of getting out of the office and enjoying ourselves. We did kind of like brief presentations on, 5 moments that shaped us just to get to know each other a little bit better as well. And time well spent. And it was at the 1415 meeting space downtown here in Omaha. It was a great little space if you're looking for something that isn't a hotel, but has a lot of conference center. So worth checking out. Back in June, I actually had a robust state and federal update kind of on the tail of the legislative sessions. And so here I am in August and I get to give it to you. So a couple of just highlights from the state legislatures first, the Council of Governments Assistance in Iowa and the Economic Development District funding in Nebraska are kind of our two sources of state funding that we rely upon. In Iowa, it was maintained at the 2024 level, which was great. I mean, that's a legislative victory for us. It was zeroed out kind of early in the budgeting process and came back to that 2024 level, which is $100,000 higher than it had been in the past. And so more dollars to kind of spread around between those partners. The Economic Development District funding, again, was reduced down in the budgeting process to about $350,000 at one point, but then came back up to our 2019 level of $700,000. So down from 2024, but also still a significant amount of resources to be available to us. Our statewide association is monitoring really closely the Iowa DOGE task force. Their report's kind of imminent here, and a lot of it seems to be focused on local government efficiencies and opportunities for regionalizing. There's this line that keeps getting repeated about, do we need 99 county engineers, 99 county auditors, and et cetera. Without anything substantive, there's not much to be really articulated there. But I think as an extension of our local government partners, it's something that we're going to be monitoring closely and seeing if there's opportunities to make some of those decisions locally before the state dictates how things should go, like they've done in areas like public health and other things on the Iowa side. So more to come on that. One item that we're monitoring very closely in Nebraska is LB 558, which created the State Infrastructure Task Force. This is a kind of a blue ribbon committee. It's odd in some ways because it includes both the legislative and the executive branch, but really looking at the way that transportation and highway funding in particular is invested in the state of Nebraska. And obviously as an MPO and the largest MPO in the state with a lot of local governments that have infrastructure needs, we're very closely monitoring that. And honestly, the way the conversation is going is it's building out from that MTIS, that Metro Travel Improvement Study framework that we have within DOT, and really thinking about ways that we can accelerate that, bring that kind of up to date with all the current planning that's been happening in the region, and really make it more vital for the partners at the local level as well, and really finding that state partnership. So excited about that. We had a meeting through the chamber with Senator Von Gillern on Monday. More to come. It's kind of a 2-year process, but they'll have a brief report in December on where they're going to be going. And then LR 156 is an interim study on automated automated enforcement in work zones. There was a bill that was passed discussed this past session, LB 600, that looked at automated enforcement strategies in work zones and school zones. And this is an interim study to kind of continue that conversation and meet with partners and stakeholders. It's a recommendation of both MAPA's regional comprehensive safety action plan to look at automated enforcement strategies and try to find that right balance between some of the community concerns about those, but also recognizing that there are not enough traffic enforcement resources to address those problems that we see, like red lights and other things. And the city of Lincoln in particular has done a lot around school zones in particular to increase enforcement and really kind of bring down speeds and increase safety in those areas. So something we're looking really closely at this is Senator DeBoer's bill. So she's right here in the region and going to be making some connections with her here during the interim. And then finally, the prioritization process pilot program. We talked about this award late last year, and then we were in a little bit of limbo for the last 9 months, but we do now have a grant agreement for those $2 million funds. And again, lines right up with what we're talking about with LB 558, some of what you'll hear from Carlos here on the long range transportation plan as well. Really excited to have those resources. A lot of uncertainty about where those were until very recently, but now we're excited to move ahead. So more to come on that. We'll have a UPWP amendment to acknowledge some of that as well here. And NDOT is pushing forward on a number of other fronts as well related to infrastructure accelerators. These are kind of those public-private partnerships, different sorts of pathways to funding and financing projects that are federal aid projects. So, you can think about a city's bond capacity, the state's bond capacity. Well, you can actually finance some projects through the federal government and kind of alleviate some of those lids. And the state of Nebraska is doing a great job of getting out ahead of that. So we're excited about that application and being a partner there. And then on the Senate side and the House side, at the federal level, transportation reauthorization, you're going to hear me be a broken wheel here. There's a lot of conversations going on about what that looks like. A lot of it seems like it's going to look like what we had with FAST Act, which was the bill up until 2021, which MAPA had a lot of success within some of our partners, but a little bit more of a reduction in overall infrastructure investment. And obviously that ties to a lot of the work that we're doing here. So just a brief update on the state and federal side, keeping a close eye on a lot of things. Sticking on that theme here, Congressman Bacon was in Saunders County kind of right that same day that he was at Epley announcing his retirement from the House of Representatives, but we were invited to talk along with NDOT and our partners at SEND, the Southeast Nebraska Development District, about putting infrastructure projects together. So great opportunity to talk about that partnership with NDOT. And then also Senator Grassley was down at Switch, the Southwest Iowa Technical and Career Hub in Mills County. We were part of that discussion about this really transformative investment that East Mills Community Schools has done around technical and career education. We've partnered with them on some of the EDA applications, trying to find resources to help make that more successful and expand it to Southwest Iowa students. So a great partnership there with Iowa West Community College and East Mills. So MAPA has been in the news quite a bit around our transportation improvement program, the long-range transportation improvement program amendment, and then also in Glenwood with some of the work that's going on with the federal dollars that have been awarded and some state dollars and foundation dollars, and just getting that trail committee to get some projects and some real great success stories here. And we're excited to be working through RPA 18 to shore up some of those other federal dollars and make them into a project that the state will help us advance. And so we're looking forward to that. And thanks to the partnership there with your city administrator, Mayor Winquist, because he's doing a great job. And then Pottawatomie County as well, just kind of sharing the news about RPA 18 and the long range transportation plan, which is kind of the sister plan to what Carlos will be talking about here today. So a couple of invitations here at the end of my remarks. We have a summit we're calling Collaborative Futures. It's a partnership of MAPA and the Greater Omaha Chamber and Economic Development Partnership. So that regional partnership of economic development organization, and really builds out of MAPA's Heartland 2050 work, and then the 6 Regions 1 Nebraska project, that governor-led economic development project that really, in a lot of ways, sought to recreate what the Economic Development Partnership has here in Omaha, which is, I think, a really great alignment between local decision makers and economic development professionals, and really trying to put our best foot forward as a region. So this summit's on September 9th. Would welcome you all to attend if you're interested. It's kind of a series of panels on everything from workforce and placemaking and housing to other things like AI and energy needs, really kind of strategies for assembling land and other things for economic development and housing opportunities. And so really broad range of stakeholders in the room. I think, I don't remember what the registration number was, Laura, the last time.
Over 100.
Yeah, so we're already over 100 and we're not even to the deadline. So it should be an exciting day down at the Beardmore Event Center. Mayor Hike will be introducing us and welcoming us to Bellevue as well. And so we'll have a keynote from Dr. Del Gines, who's an Omaha native, but actually has the role of Chief Innovation Officer at the International Economic Development Council, one of our professional associations, just kind of at the international level, talking about, how we get out of the silos within economic development and how we think about how, housing and all these other issues really are economic development strategies in new ways and where they're seeing success at IEDC. So exciting day on September 9th. Then about a month later, on October 8th, we'll be having MAPA's Council of Officials meeting at the Northern Lights venue in Fort Calhoun. We're going to have Ken Moreno, who's actually a speaker at the summit I just mentioned as well, who leads the Scott Data Center, which is adjacent to UNO, but independent and a nonprofit that has a lot of compute and is partnering with a lot of organizations locally and businesses across the country to really forge a really different model to some of this stuff we hear about AI and machine learning and other things. Really unique partnership. I mean, just another one of these feathers in the cap of Walter Scott's vision and how he was able to put some resources together. But I think also a really compelling story about something that Omaha has that really nobody else around the country has and how they're partnering with folks around here. So it should be a really exciting event and welcome you to join us on October 8th. And we'll talk a little bit about the awards here later in the agenda, but we'll have our awards ceremony as well that evening. So any questions?
Questions for Mike? All right, we have Laura Heilman, Communications Outreach Manager with the department update.
Hi, everybody. So we just generally take turns presenting on our departments to the board, just so you guys are a little bit more aware of what we do. So I actually am the manager of the communications and outreach team. So I've got a great staff, really some tenured people, which is phenomenal. Sue's been here over 11 and a half years. Jody's just about to hit her 6-year anniversary with MAPA. I'll be hitting my 5 years in a couple months. Saul's just maybe 2.5 years, so on the newer side. And then we also always have a communications and outreach intern, so that's been a really great position for us to kind of grow some local talent. So Andrew is our current communications and outreach intern, comes from Creighton, and will be generally with us for about a year is what our interns do. So what does my team do? I kind of broke it down into really agency communications, which is pretty standard, your website, annual report, newsletter, social media, that kind of stuff like your regular communications team would do. We also developed the public participation plan, which is a major federally required document that outlines how we talk about our meetings and our projects with the public. So that really guides our work. And if you want to get into it, it's really exciting. But I can get you a copy of that if you're interested. Just talks about how like all of our public outreach, all of our requirements that we need to go through. We also have several brands. We do brand management internally for all of our stuff. And then we also work on some of the project communications as well. So that might be the Safe Streets project, or our long range transportation plan update. So we might help with brand development, public engagement, meeting facilitation, other kind of meeting administration, and then document layout. I also forgot the MAPA calendar. That was the last thing I put on here because I know that's everybody's favorite thing that we do. So we got a new one coming out in a couple weeks here. One other major thing that my team manages is kind of the Heartland 2050 program as well. And I've got the org chart on the right here, and everything in blue is kind of considered Heartland 2050. So that really starts with our regional planning advisory committee. They're kind of they kind of work with TTAC to provide kind of holistic guidance to the MAPA board, but they also run or support and guide the work of the implementation committees, which some of you are probably familiar with. Our natural resources, we have an engagement, housing, and an infrastructure committee. And so those committees all meet regularly, and my team supports all of those meetings as well as our growing site visits, which are a lot of fun. We've got one coming up. I'll talk about that in a minute. And then our larger events like our summits, so that regional economic development summit with the chamber belongs kind of under that Heartland 2050. And then we also do some speaker series and other events, whatever Mike wants us to do pretty much. It's great. It's great to be super flexible and be able to do that stuff and really kind of meet the needs. I did just want to mention some of the stuff we're working on now, because this is my team's busy time every year, but particularly this year, we've got a couple big documents that the transportation and community development teams are working on that we will do final layout of. But just some of the things, we've got that regional economic development summit coming up. We're working on our 2025 annual report. Support for our annual meeting coming up, and our calendar getting out. And then those couple big docs are the Metropolitan Transportation Plan and the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy. Those are every 5 years. So we go into pretty much a nice tight crunch for fall every 5 years. And then we are planning a learning site visit to Detroit in the spring. So we are working on planning for that. So any questions? That's kind of a broad, high level overview, but.
Questions for Laura?
One thing I'd highlight just on that learning site visit, in the past, we've kind of tried to curate that group and Councilman Rowe has actually attended that with us in the past as well. And one thing we're going to do this time around is a letter of interest. So we're actually just let people tell us that they want to go and tell us what they're interested in and see how well it aligns with the topics that we're going to be able to pull together for Detroit, try to get that more of that engagement just on the upfront and understand, what are community partners that might want to participate in this. And Councilman Rowe, I know you joined us on one of them, but I think it's just a great example of where taking a trip, learning from leadership in other communities, but also kind of building some of those collaborative muscles for when we get back to town. It's powerful, but it's a lot of work. And Laura and Christina and the teams put in a tremendous amount of work, so much so that we get asked to do this for other people now. But it's a tremendous value, I think, just to what makes it these regional collaboration projects work. So be on the lookout for that letter of interest as well.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. Before it was really kind of this invite only thing, and now we've really broadened that so that we're accepting a little bit more open on that end. I think that's a good move for that program.
Other questions or comments?
Thank
You very much. Adia West, our GIS intern, is going to give an internship report.
Yeah, so we always try to do this with our interns, kind of a culminating activity as a presentation to all of you. We're fortunate to have a lot of interns come through us, and Nadia is our most recent one on the GIS side of the house. So Adia, you can take it away from here.
Hi, my name is Adia. For the past 6 months, I have been working as the GIS and data intern with MAPA. I'm currently a great student. I'll be graduating this December with a degree in political science, history, and minors in data science, dance, and something else. But in my time here, I've gotten to be part of a lot of different things. One of the things that I've been really appreciative is getting to participate and go to the UNO's Data and Research Series for Community Impact. I got to hear our own bipartisan talk, and it was really great just hearing all of the different people around the region talking about just the data that is accessible and available to us and how the different ways we can use it. For example, Josie Schaefer talked a little bit about using Zillow as a resource rather than just automatically going to national data sources. And then kind of on that, I've been able to use those resources and those learning opportunities to work a little bit on some of our community resources we have. One of them predominantly I've been dealing with has been the trails and sidewalks. American Community Survey from 2019 to 2023 said that there's an estimated 21.8 households in this region that do not have access to a personal vehicle, making sidewalks and trails a major utility for them. However, 29% of those surveyed feel unsafe as a pedestrian on those routes. That was taken part of respondents from the Safe Streets for All, which is one of the larger projects that MAPA has going on. And so with that, I've been working a little bit on updating our sidewalk missingness in school zones. In the past, we've done it looking at just middle schools, but I've been working a little bit more with elementary schools and high schools, expanding and looking at where students may have issues accessing their school through a sidewalk. Additionally, working on updating the trails to align with the Iowa DOT nomenclature. And part of that has been getting on the front end, doing to work on the Bike to Work project that happens annually, just updating where participants within the community work. And then another thing that I've been able to work on has been with the Nebraska Regional Officials Council. I was able to coordinate with them to update and revitalize a little bit of their dashboard that they have. I've been able to include legislative districts, communicate with them, just kind of get a bigger sense of what's happening around the state itself. And now we can see that there have been a lot of different projects that have been happening across the state. We are seeing a lot of intentionality and revitalization in downtown communities. And across the state, we're seeing about 449 projects and counting just within these regional developments. 434 distinct communities and an average of 2,636 people impacted. And that's something that is just going to be increasing since this was a prior year. We just updated the system so they'll be able to put in new data, and we should have updates on that. And that is all I have to say. Thank you so much for your time and for the opportunity to get to this.
Thanks, Adia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public comments, if individuals are interested in addressing the MAPA Board of Directors during the public comment period about agenda items, they should identify themselves by name and address before speaking. Individuals interested in addressing the MAPA Board regarding non-agenda items must sign the request to speak list located in the boardroom prior to the beginning of the meeting. Is there anybody wishing to address them? Perfect. Finance Committee.
We can take the whole consent.
Okay, we'll take the, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items F through F4?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Carlos, resolution.
And we do. Roll call.
Oh, yeah.
Garcia.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
Klug.
Yes.
Rowe.
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
Likewise. Yes.
Sorry, I'm in my city council.
No.
mode. Carlos, resolution 2026-02.
Right, this is the 2026 UPWP budget amendment number 1. So we are just starting out our fiscal year 2026 in July, and now it is August, a month in, and we're looking for an amendment. The key things about this amendment are threefold. One, you heard us talk, and you've heard Mike talk about TRIPS, this federal funding opportunity for $2 million over multiple years, that it's 100% federal funding. Part of the amendment is to incorporate that money into our budget. For this fiscal year, we're looking at adding $600,000 of those dollars for this fiscal year, triggering this amendment change. 2, we're doing a cleanup and de-obligation on the Iowa DOT side of the house, the funding. That's kind of the Iowa DOT under FTA, SCBG. That number had to be updated. This does that. And then finally, one last comment that we received from one of our federal agencies is the removal of 5310. In previous versions of our budget, we show that line item, that column that said 5310, looking at where we would spend our time, effort, and contract work. A lot of that work, and you'll hear more about it in a little bit as well, is that senior and disabled services, where we do contract work under that. That tends to inflate some of our contract budgets and some of our times with that. We had to remove that. So all in all, what does this mean? Overall, there's a budget change of $313,000 and $953. It represents 7.5% budget change. So we're adding $300,000 into the budget for our federal revenues for this year. That is kind of the big picture. With that, I would take
Questions for Carlos? Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Garcia.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
Klug.
Yes.
Rowe.
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
Likewise. Yes.
Carlos, the Metropolitan Transportation Plan.
Next up is our draft Metropolitan Transportation Plan. As Laura alluded to, this is one of the big efforts that we do on the 5s and 0s. That's how I like to write this. This year, we're just doing an update to the existing plan. What that means is we collected new information on projects from all the different communities. My staff has been very diligently working with everyone around the region to collect plan studies and things going on in terms of projects. We've used some of the previous work that was done with this through the previous LRTP, and conversations about people's long-range transportation plans, the CIP, et cetera, et cetera. Right now, the current estimated fiscal impact of this 20-year horizon looks at $6.3 billion worth of projects. We managed to get that fiscally constrained. This is kind of the one note that comes out of all this work for us at MAPA is to do additional work during the course of updating this plan. One of the things that did happen at the state was the state no longer requires counties to provide their 1 in 6 plans. Within those 1 in 6 plans, counties are supposed to provide additional information on ongoing maintenance and the cost of that within the region. MAPA used that information to help with our fiscal constraint tables. Those numbers were not available in the middle of the session of updating all this information, which is going to force us to pivot in the next Metropolitan Transportation Plan. But it's just a side note, and for us to understand and work harder to work with you all to get those numbers. The other aspect of the work behind this is updating our traveler demand model. Mike likes to say all models are wrong. Some of them do provide some information, but we're updating our traveler demand model to a base year of 2022. Again, this is a lot of that work between my staff and local communities to understand what projects have been built, what is the context in terms of the transportation network on that. And that is all we have. We are opening up our draft plan right now for public comment through September 24th. And that's what we're looking for. We'll be back September 25th for final approval of the plan to be able to give our federal or state partners their October deadline.
Is there questions for Carlos on the Metropolitan Transportation Plan? Is there a motion to accept?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Garcia,
Yes.
Height,
Yes.
Clue,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
Walsh,
Yes.
Wincott. Yes.
Under new business, new contracts, Carlos?
Lawrence Home, this is again our 5310 work. We're entering into a contract with Lawrence Home to provide elderly and disabled services for a 2-year period for $198,201.52. Again, this is work that we have contractually done for that 5310 contract with FTM.
Questions for Carlos? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Roll call?
Garcia,
Yes.
Height, Clue,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
Walsh,
Yes.
Wincott. Yes.
Purchase, the board will consider approval of purchasing items listed below. Matt?
I guess I can do it too, for you, Matt, since I'm already here. So this is a software license for 1 year for our Blackbaud Financial Edge accounting software. This is our current accounting platform. As many of you know, we're going through an ERP process to implement Oracle for NetSuite. But having this license will actually make the accounting record for last fiscal year available to us while we go through the audit process, so we don't have to try to navigate, a new financial system while going through that audit. And so next year's audit will all be done in Oracle NetSuite and have that accounting record. So this license makes that available through next year, but also gives us that flexibility to work with our auditors in the upcoming year.
And then can we do 2A and B? Christina, council officials, associated costs with the annual meeting?
Do you want me to do this one, Christina? Okay, just because you're not at the microphone. So the Council of Officials annual meeting here in October, as we mentioned, we have the Northern Lights venue reserved for that, but we also have the bills here for both the catering and then the AV sound and lighting, kind of the stage and audiovisual technology there for the presentations for the speaker. So a total there of $10,178 for those costs for our October meeting.
Any questions on those two items? Is there,
Motion to approve.
is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Garcia,
Yes.
Pike,
Yes.
Clute,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
Walsh,
Yes.
Lindquist. Yes.
Item J, looks like 2025 annual awards month.
Yes, so, I mentioned this earlier, we've got our annual dinner coming up, and each year we make kind of a presentation to the board. Years ago, it was actually the board who had a subcommittee to do this, but after, much cajoling, they just said, okay, well, MAPA staff, you should just tell us who you think should be recognized. So this is that annual process for all of you. And so, our team spent the last 3 or 4 months really kind of putting together a list of folks that we thought were worthy of recognition here in our region. It's a long list. And, one of the challenges we have each year is coming down to just 1 or 2 people to recognize. And in the last 5 years, we haven't actually taken sort of the flexibility that we've done in previous years of recognizing 2 people for each award, which we're hoping to do this year. Because, we have 2 awards, the Regional Citizenship Award, which recognizes an individual that's contributed to regional planning or cooperation, interlocal cooperation, or really just assisted with kind of community betterment on a scale. And this year, we're recommending that it's given to both Kent Holm for the Douglas County Environmental Services for his work on solid waste management, particularly with some of the efforts at the legislative level to do extended producer responsibility. Laura highlighted the Heartland 2050 Natural Resources Committee. His solid waste subcommittee is one of those and has over 200 people on the mailing list. We have 80 people on those calls from across the state and in Iowa talking about solid waste issues. And really, he has just championed this himself. And he's put in a tremendous amount of time to facilitate that on behalf of the region. And so recognizing him for those contributions and really, I think the extended producer responsibility bill in and of itself is a triumph. It really puts Nebraska on the forefront of some of those solid waste issues. And then also Mayor Kevin Zimmerman over in Minden. And so if you look at the work of that community recovering from the tornado, from the Arbor Day tornadoes in 2024, Mayor Zimmerman has done a tremendous work in partnership with MAPA, in partnership with other local partners, in partnership with the local business community there in Minden to put the community on a path to recovery. We're going to have a ribbon cutting here in October for the CDBG housing project, 3 duplexes that MAPA is helping assist with through Habitat for Humanity. But you're seeing local businesses come back online in that community, pursuing other grants for the water system as well. And so his leadership of that community through that kind of resiliency is something we wanted to recognize as well. And then on the Regional Service Award, this goes to a community or an organization, kind of those similar pieces there of really kind of being a leader on regional planning or coordination and recognizing the Trainer Tomorrow group and the work that they're doing kind of both with one foot in the past and the work that they've done to transform their community through housing development, through investments in sports complexes, but really also being on the forefront of this new model supported by philanthropy in Southwest Iowa and finding the ways of putting these new philanthropic resources through the Lakin Foundation into action early. And so we've been fortunate to help support them a little bit with the strategic planning, but they don't really need much support. They've got a lot of vision and they're doing it really with themselves and really accessing some of those state resources and leveraging each dollar that they get. Just a tremendous amount of community leadership and excited to honor them. And then finally, last but not least, the City of Omaha Public Works Department for Vision Zero. I think we were at the table when Mayor Stothard asked that committee to kind of say, should we do this back in 2018, 2019? In the growth and the development of the Public Works Department to not just do that planning and letting it sit on a shelf, but finding the ways of being proactive, doing new demonstration projects, even just in the last few months since we started making this recommendation, out there doing planning and demonstration projects, really embodying that culture of safety that makes progress towards the MAPA board's goals to reduce traffic fatalities and serious injuries to 0, but also is just a leader both within the Midwest and the region as a whole on some of those initiatives. And so just tremendous growth there. And so a lot of different facets of MAPA's work, and it was really difficult to narrow it down. And so we chose not to this year. And so it will be a grander party than usual, but really excited to honor all of those partners at the local level and hope you were able to join us on October 9th as well, or October 8th. It's October 8th, isn't it? Don't come on the 9th, come on the 8th. I keep messing it. It was October 9th last year, so yeah, sorry, I had to look at the October 8th. Yeah, don't come on the 9th.
All right, 5:30 at Northern Lights venue in Fort Calhoun. Any other business before the board? No, we're adjourned.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.